Hello everyone, Zed Runner here. Just a quick car related video this time. Quick dashcam hardwire install into a 2017 Jaguar F-Type R Coupe. So we've got a front mounted dashcam, a Nextbase 312GW. I just ordered online, just turned up today, this Hardwire kit. It comes with a 4-metre cable, permanent live and or switch live for a fuse box rather, and a permanent grounding in there, which beats going into an auxiliary power outlet somewhere and the cable dangling across. We're going to unbox it in a second, have a little look through, but the kit contains the principal power cord itself, different fuses, different sizes and style of fuse, and different sort of piggyback fuse adapters as required. It works with the standard Nextbase camera mount, which I'll show you now. So this is the 312GW that we've got, and it has a little sucker mount that goes onto your windscreen. Pretty impressive actually, it works really well. Only a couple of times a year does it fall off. However, there is a USB mini connector on the side of it which enables permanent power connection, so you're not reliant on the battery on these all the time, which they're not too brilliant to be fair. The battery doesn't last that long. What I used to do in my old car, there used to be a auxiliary power outlet, or in the old days it was called a cigarette lighter socket, in the glove box. So I could run this above the headliner, down the A-pillar, beside the door, the dashboard by the passenger door, and squeeze that into the glove box from there. And there was an auxiliary outlet for inside the glove box, which doesn't exist in my new car. So this kit is now redundant, as in the power wiring, so that can go. However, this little cradle will now be powered by the Dashcam Hardwire kit that we just picked up. Let's get on and open up the box, see what's in the kit, and then we're going to look at how we install it in the F-Type. Okay, so let's get into it. Got my trusty miniature pen. Let's see. Okay, so in the box, so as you would hope, you get some instructions or destructions. You get all sorts of information about what the light status might be on the adapter, how to connect it all up, which is pretty useful, I suppose. And within the kit itself, well, packaged as you might expect, it's a good brand, it's a quality kit. You can get cheaper kits. But when I read the reviews on the cheaper kits, you had some reviews saying the quality of the fuse was so poor that as you tried to insert it into the holder it would crumble, it would break apart. And I kind of just thought, let's just spend a few extra pounds only and get the right kit. So this is all the different piggyback fuse adapters, blade fuse adapters for the car, so you've got to choose the right one for the car. There is a ferrite core in there as well to stop any interference with the radio. This is the micro USB outlet side of the power cable, and just a quick double check. Alright. That does fit in the cradle, so that will power, that will work well. There's a long lead here. The original kit that came with the dashcam, this old cigarette lighter style device, had a ferrite core on it in a fixed place, and I suppose you can break it all apart and try and move it, but bear in mind this is up in the top of the windscreen, and trying to hide this behind the headliner was rather challenging without damaging the headliner. So what I'm pleased with is the new cable is significantly long. Without the ferrite core, we can put the ferrite core right at the other end, and that should be just fine, which means the installation process will be significantly easier. A wealth of cable here, more than we need, so that'll all be coiled up. So let's get into the car and take a look. So just before we head out into the car and have a look, just want to show you how these fuse holders work. Excuse the rustling. These are called kind of piggyback fuse holders, and what they do is allow you to, let's show you the larger one, it's easier to focus on, and connect into the wiring loom for the dash cam. This is where the live is drawn from. Then you find a switched live output in your fuse box or your car. You remove the fuse from it, plug this device in into the existing fuse location, and reinsert the existing fuse that was in your car into this blank space here. That retains that original initial fuse circuit to the rating that's on the fuse itself, but then taps off a second fuse supply piggybacked off of that for your dash cam. It's perfectly safe, perfectly normal thing to do, and it's done by the millions. So you've got this size here, standard blade fuse size as I know them. We've got this mini size here, exactly the same process. So you'd find the right one. I think I need this one for my car, and you pull out the associated fuse, insert the holder, and put the original fuse into the blank space. So I'll just point that out here. So just here, you've got the fuse locations, fuse pins. That's where your original fuse from the car goes. This entire holder then fits into the fuse location that you just removed from. Let's go and try and track that all down now. I'll show you the fuse location, fuse box location, and the fuse number and row that I use for the switched power. And I'll show you how I find that as well. And then we'll get the main install done. So, taking the floor mat out, you can see that there's a little panel here which just pulls open. Little studs in there. It's actually caught, so I have to repair that one. So there's our fuse box, and we just need a nice simple constant live, switched live, so when the ignition goes off, the live feed goes off as well. In terms of where we're going to feed the cable, under the carpet, right up to there. We can't see, but we can get the cable out from this area, behind the carpet, and into the fuse box. I might try and run it up that side, be even cleaner, but I'm not sure about that. On this side of the dashboard, this panel prizes off. I'll get a little tool to do that. This panel will prise off to reveal the gap down where we can run the cable. Then we'll run the cable through here, all the way up here to the dash cam location. That's where we'll start from there. So we'll mount the little device so we know exactly where the cable needs to end, and run it all the way around. Let's get that trim off. So if you open the glove box, you can see that this trim just prizes away. It sounds horrible, but it does the job. And notice that it's hooked into the rubber there, the door rubber. It hooks behind that and hooks underneath here. So when we reinstall, we need to make sure we do that. In terms of earth locations, we'll probably fit the constant line, the earth requirement, to this here. So we'll get a Torx screwdriver on that, under that, slot our wire behind it, and that should be good enough grounding. That's direct to the chassis. That should work just fine. And then we'll be able to feed our cables all the way down through. You can roughly see where we're going. Follow the light down in there if you can see that. That's roughly where we're going. That actually looks relatively doable. Let's get on with it. So we're going to start by locating the mounting itself, and then running the cable from the right length to start with. I don't have to pull it backward and forward. Once I've got it in place, I'll know exactly where it needs to be. I quite like the camera being as hidden behind the rearview mirror as possible, so that we're not distracting the driver at all. And we'll start with the cradle connection end, because what I don't want is a load of, we'll start down here and have loads of cable left up there, so it just makes sense to me. Now ordinarily the headliner just flexes enough at the front to slot this into. You see that going in nice and easy there? What a bonus. So the rest of the job's that easy. Fingers crossed. So you can see how easily that's gone in up there. So the A-pillar is really tightly bolted on. There's an airbag in there as well, so you need to be quite careful with this. But if you prise this little cover off very gently, you don't want to damage this delicate material here, you'll notice there's a little Torx bit underneath. So to get access, it's a T30. I don't know if you can see that, it's a T30 bit. Simply undo, and that allows this to move a little bit more freely. And reassembling, obviously don't do it too tight. There you go, the whole piece then just drops off. Now careful of the airbag behind. That should be sufficient. And what we're now going to be able to do is drop this cable well, so just behind there's your airbag. So we want the cable, this cable to go all the way down here, and then drop down, so way past the deployment sort of radius, as it were, of the airbag. So let's get that. Let's just manipulate this through here, and there she goes. There you go, beautiful. So we don't have any wire sticking out at all here now. That's a really decent install. It's not sort of stitching its way along, not going around the corner here. Sometimes you see that. Not crammed down here so it won't squeak if the dashboard moves. It's not going across here. So it's well worth taking that A-pillar cover off actually. It's dead easy to do. So now we're at the point where we want to install the earth onto this Torx fitting here, and then get the remainder of the cabling down through into the glove box area. So nice to feed it through there. And let's pull it all the way through. And now we'll get this behind the carpet to the fuse box. In theory, this bit should be straightforward. You find a bit, and it is. So obviously that's way too much cable, so we will pull it back through. Now's the time to establish the fuse connector we need, and is the smaller type. Find out which one of these either blank spaces or existing spaces is free. And we know we've got free fuse 54, 67, 68, so I need to go now and find out if they are switched or not. So what I'm doing now is just wrapping up the cable. I'm going to coil it, cable tie it, and get it behind here. There we go. So I'm going to coil this up as neatly as I can. And now what we're trying to do, end of this cable underneath there, which is dead easy. But before we do that, we're going to make up the length and coil it and tie it up out of the way first. Let's get coiling and wrapping. It's easy to do this now than when it's in situ, and we'll leave just enough. So there's another tie wrap. Good. I'll install that. Feed this up through here, behind the fitting. So our module slipped back on. Earth's nice and tight. All the wire is tucked away, shouldn't squeak, shouldn't rattle. Okay. I will test that now. So I know I found a permanent drive, which is here. Okay, which is F33. I know that's permanent. So we're going to plug in. And the camera powers on, so that's permanent drive. And we know that earth works when all the wiring is still intact. So that's good news. Let's go and unplug that and get it into a switch live. One thing I almost forgot to do is do the little Ferris coil. So undo these two little clips here, open that up, and we'll get that on the main cable. Should be fairly straightforward. There you go. It's in a place where it's not going to rattle against the bodywork. It's held within the cabling itself. Happy days. Good. I'm comfortable with that, so we're going to get the trim back on. We want to scoop this just behind all the rubber trim there, like so. Put that in place and line up all. So my problem was I hadn't hooked. There's a little hook fitting here. I hadn't hooked it in, so it's sitting on the outside of the hole it's supposed to go into. So bend that out. There you go. Trim back in place. So now we're going to refit the bolt up here. Again, just the T30. Nice and firm, nothing too tight. And all this snaps back in to place. Easy. It pops out at the end there, but nice and easy. All that cabling, beautifully done. Very happy with that. In the shop box. So now we need to go and do a quick bit of research, figure out which fuse is switched live, and then we're done. So in your owner's handbook, if you look at page 181, you've got the passenger side footwell fuse box, and these are the fuses that you can use, 52 or 53, whichever you can install into easiest, probably 52. And what is 52? Fuse 52 is 20 amps, but don't worry about that. You'll retain that fuse. It's yellow, and it's the accessory sockets for the centre console. So your cigarette lighter, your accessory lighter, 12 volt power outlet. That's what we're going to try and use. So fuse 52, it's just there. And you can see fuse 52 is here. And because of the nature of the fuse holder, you can put it in that way if you like, but it stops you getting to that fuse. Put it in this way, it stops you getting to that fuse. So whichever's easy for you to install, it's largely irrelevant. But that's the one we want. So we're going to get the grippers out. Pull fuse 52 out, there it is. And what we want to do, and just to remind you, that's going to fit in the original install place here, the original fuse, sorry, into the new adapter. That's dead, if that's not single-handed, dead easy process to do. There you go, easy. So we have the original vehicle fuse here, we have the accessory fuse here, and quite simply, that's it, done. You hear the camera start as the accessory circuit's on, and the camera starts, so we know that's good. That's fantastic. I'm going to unplug it all and pull all this cable back through, tidy the cable up, use a cable tie down here, get that all hidden behind the carpets, and we're done. Okay, there we go. Behind the carpet, out of the way, power supply. And we're done. Fuse box cover. There's a number of locations, so these spikes go into the yellow locations here. There's a physical locating plug that goes in there, and there's a little yellow tab that goes in the top. And one final locating lug here. It should be a case of align and push. Done. Anyone can do that. About 20 minutes work. I hope you enjoyed the video. Anyone can do it. About 20 minutes. F-Type R really is easy to work on in that regard so far. There's going to be a few more accessory videos coming up, a bit more information about the F-Type, a full tour, yes, some exhaust sounds coming, and as soon as we're allowed out, some driving videos as well. See you soon.